Brianna Turner was on this team for I don't even know if it was 24 hours, because I can't imagine why you would sign her. I understand she's supposed to be this great defensive player, but is it worth taking a flamethrower to your fan base and your locker room, by the way?
In little in a day, Brianna Turner went from being the newest Fever signee to public enemy number one. The Indiana Fever thought they were adding a strong defender, a veteran presence, someone to help Caitlin Clark lead this team into the future. But instead, oh no. Turner came in with a flamethrower, and the first thing she did was set the fan base on fire. The fans were excited, ready to roll with this new squad, dreaming of championships, and when they learned about Turner's previous tweets, they didn't just react, they erupted. The backlash hit like a meteor. And what's wild is that rather than offering an apology, she doubled down.
Going after the Iowa Hawkeyes, talking shit about Caitlin Clark fans. It's baffling. Serious.
Let's break it all down because this is a disaster in the making. But before we get into the good stuff, take a moment to like this video. She basically told fans to deal with it and kept pushing it. Now that the Fever is facing a full-blown PR nightmare and the fans are demanding that she be cut before she even plays a single minute, what happens next? Will the Fever try to fix this mess, or is Turner already on her way out the door? Additionally, by joining our team and subscribing to the channel, you'll always be up to date on the most recent WNBA news, expert analysis, and summaries of key movements. Just like this, don't miss anything. We've covered every possible angle, so click like. Let's dive right in when you subscribe. Okay, so how did we get here? For a moment, let's press the rewind button. With Caitlin Clark leading the charge and adding experienced players, the Indiana Fever made a move that should have been obvious, signing Brianna Turner, a strong defensive player with a veteran presence. This was supposed to be a huge step forward for the team they're rebuilding, stacking talent, and the fans were excited to see a well-rounded squad coming together. However, just as everyone was getting ready to celebrate this new addition, social media investigators did what they do best. Dug deep, and what did they find? Oh, just a goldmine of old tweets that made one thing painfully obvious: Turner had serious shade for Caitlin Clark and her Iowa squad, and this wasn't some lighthearted banter. This was the kind of stuff that made Fever fans take a step back and say, wait a minute, did we just sign someone who doesn't even respect our star player? As these tweets started making the rounds, the excitement over Turner signing quickly turned into a storm of backlash, and if there's one thing you don't want to do as a new player, it's alienate the fan base before you even step on the court. So now the real question is, what exactly did Turner say that had fans seeing red? Let's dive into the social media disaster that took this situation from 0 to 100 in record time. Now here's where things took a dramatic turn. This wasn't just any tweet, oh no, this was a direct shot at Iowa's runner-up celebration after last year's NCAA tournament, an event that, by the way, was heavily supported by fans who were proud of what the team had achieved. Turner wrote, Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runner-up. All players and coaches expected respectfully. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does? At first glance, this may appear to be a straightforward inquiry, or even a lighthearted joke. But let's face it, this wasn't just a harmless remark. Rather, it was a classic social media jab, and the timing of it only made matters worse. If sports fans have one thing in common, it's their vivid memories, and they never forget when someone makes fun of their favorite player. Turner wasn't merely making remarks about any team. She was openly challenging a celebration for the most talked-about player in women's basketball at the moment. Caitlin Clark is more than just a celebrity. She is the reason why WNBA ticket sales are soar, why networks are showing more games, and why people who had never watched women's basketball before are now paying attention. As a result, when fans saw those old tweets, they didn't just ignore them. They went into full defense mode, interpreting Turner's remarks as a direct jab at the player who had single-handedly restored the league's popularity. If there's one thing you don't want as a new Fever player, it's to have your fan base turn against you. However, the backlash didn't stop there. It quickly spread like wildfire, sparking heated discussions about loyalty, respect, and whether a player with this attitude should even be on the team. If you thought things couldn't get any worse, wait, because there were other people who shared your thoughts. What began as enthusiasm for a new team member swiftly turned into incredulity and a full-fledged social media storm. We were thrilled for a defensive anchor, but now we're just defending Caitlin Clark from her own teammate speed running the How to Ruin Your Welcome challenge. Fever fans were excited for a defensive anchor 1 minute, and then they were demanding that Turner be cut before she even stepped on the court. Some were calling for her immediate release, while others were questioning the Fever's decision-making. We were all shocked by how quickly things went south. I understand why you would sign someone who already has a grudge against our franchise star. Did anyone look at her Twitter before making the offer? If she had any common sense, she would have deleted the posts, apologized, and focused on basketball. The fans weren't just upset. They were offended that a player who had previously disparaged their biggest star was now wearing the same jersey. They felt that Turner's behavior didn't fit with the team's culture, and they weren't going to overlook this. If Turner had remained silent, perhaps the whole situation would have fallen apart over time. Let it go. If she enters the room, puts her head down, and demonstrates that she is here to play basketball, she did something that no PR team in the world would ever advise. Rather than taking a step back, reading the room, and trying to defuse the situation, Turner went into full deal with it mode. She didn't give an explanation, didn't acknowledge the backlash, but instead doubled down, responding with "Feel free to unfollow me or block me if that is bothersome to you. Oh no, just know now that is not how you win over a new fan base. That's how you make yourself the center of a PR design disaster." Fans weren't just angry anymore. They felt disrespected, dismissed, and even more convinced that Turner didn't care about the team or its supporters. This response wasn't just defiant, it was dismissive rather than showing any kind of regret. She essentially told the fans to take a hike if they didn't like what she had to say. The moment this tweet hit the internet, the backlash only intensified. Fans, already enraged, took this as proof that Turner wasn't a good fit for the team's culture. And when social media erupts like that, there's no putting the fire out easily. At this point, the conversation shifted from "why did she say that" to "why is she even?" On this team, fans were now openly calling for her to be cut, and the Indiana Fever found themselves with an unexpected crisis on their hands. But the damage wasn't just external. The Fever's front office and coaching staff had to be asking themselves a tough question: how do they manage a player who's already alienated an entire fan base before even stepping on the court? And things only got worse when the locker room dynamic came into question. Well, you've made it this far, that must mean you're really enjoying the video, right? So why not take a quick second to hit that follow button? It's totally free, super simple, and helps us keep bringing you more awesome content, especially if you love the WNBA. Whether it's game highlights, player spotlights, or behind-the-scenes moments, we've got you covered. Plus, by following, you'll never miss a beat when it comes to your favorite teams and players. Go on, tap that follow now. All right, let's jump back. And here's the thing, this isn't just about one tweet. It's about who it was directed at and what it represents for the entire team and league. Caitlin Clark is more than just a player. She is the face of the team, the reason that Fever games sell out, the reason that the WNBA receives primetime coverage, and the reason that new fans attend every game. Since she first entered the league, she has been the kind of once-in-a-generation talent that can change a team, a city, and even an entire sport. Therefore, when Turner came in with old tweets disparaging Clark, it would be equivalent to attending a wedding and disparaging the bride in front of the entire audience. In Turner's case, she not only lost the room, but the entire arena. To make matters worse, Clark has never publicly dissed any player in the league. She simply wants to play basketball and improve her team, elevate the game. She isn't participating in Twitter feuds or making slide digs at her rivals, so it's not only horrible when a player who should be her comrade disparages her. The real question now is how this affects the Fever's dynamic going forward. Can this team function with all this tension brewing in the background? Or is this controversy going to be the beginning of something even bigger? But wait, it gets worse. Optics, that's locker room poison. And let's not forget, locker room chemistry are everything in professional sports. If there is tension between teammates, it will show up on the court. And if Turner doesn't get this straight, she's going to find herself on the outside looking in while Clark continues to dominate the WNBA. Fans are one thing, but what about the players? The locker room is meant to be a place where players develop camaraderie, trust, and support one another. If Turner has a history of making fun of Clark, how will that affect them on the court? Will they be able to move past this and concentrate on winning? Or will this be an issue throughout the season? Let's face it, If Turner gets off to a slow start or has a few poor games, the drama will quickly bubble up, so it's dangerous to support Turner in the hopes that the fans will move on. Caitlin Clark's devoted fan base isn't going to forget this anytime soon. Will they cut her and send a message that criticism of Clark won't be accepted? That may sound harsh, but let's face it, WNBA teams don't think twice about cutting role players if they start to cause trouble. Although Turner is a capable defender, she is not a franchise player, and if she starts to act more like a burden than an asset, the Fever won't hesitate to move on. At this point, Turner has two options, and one of them might make or break her WNBA career. She apologizes. Own up and concentrate on basketball. If Turner puts aside her pride, apologizes sincerely, and concentrates on establishing herself on the court, she may still have a chance. Fans of redemption may be disappointed right now, but victory has a humorous way of making things better. The WNBA is a business, and if a player, even a talented one, becomes a distraction, teams will quickly move on. If she keeps tweeting, failing to acknowledge the impact of her words, and dismissing fan concerns, the Fever may decide she's just not worth the trouble. However, if she locks in, performs well, and genuinely commits to being a team player, she could turn the tide in her favor. All eyes are on Turner right now. Will she take the high road, demonstrate maturity, and commit herself to the game? Or will she let pride in social media battles? Turner must question herself if making a statement on social media is worth jeopardizing a bright basketball career. Describe her legacy. What comes next? Let's examine how the Fever front office is managing this mess, and whether they are willing to wager on Turner's potential or cut their losses before the season even starts. Wow, this situation went from 0 to 100 very quickly at first. At first, it seemed like a great move, but one thing is certain. Time is running out, and the Fever won't wait forever. Brianna Turner, a good defender who joined the young and promising Indiana Fever squad, is currently embroiled in a PR nightmare due to some old tweets and a response that only made matters worse. Will the Fever support her and attempt to resolve the situation, or will they determine that having her around is simply too much of a distraction? Since Caitlin Clark is the face of the team and the one who attracts large crowds for the team's future, let's face it, when a player, especially a new teammate, throws shade at her, it's not just a bad look, it's a serious issue. WNBA teams, let's face it, don't hesitate to make roster changes when drama starts to affect team chemistry. Locker room chemistry is crucial, and if the vibes are already off before the season even begins, that's a major red flag. What do you think? Should Turner continue to play and hope that everything works out, or should they cut their losses before it gets worse? I'd like to know what you think, because I assure you that this is a conversation that will only get louder. Before you leave, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. We have more WNBA updates, deep dives, and drama breakdowns coming your way, and you won't want to miss a single one.